Okay, we are live, Mr. Wonderful.
Live.
It's been a very long time since you and I have been on here together.
I know.
In front of any camera together. I've
Too long.
I've been a little busy.
Have you ever been busy?
You have too, but
particularly the last 6 months.
Yeah. I'll take this opportunity while some of you are hopping on here to just say thank you so much for. I don't know how many of you were praying and checking on us and sending literal cards for my mom when my mom and dad were in the car accident. It's been about 5 or 6 months ago now. And it was June.
Was it June or was it July?
I think it was right at the end of June, going into July. And anyway, she's doing great. They now live in a home in our neighborhood, just less than a mile from us. And we love doing life near them. And it was an honor to have them in our home for 4 months.
For sure.
And then we had, a couple of our other kids move in for a little while in between homes. And they are moving out later this week. So we're about to be empty nesters again.
Except for the 2 little dogs.
Sure. It's just their own version of trouble. Anyway, we also are excited about this next year. We're going to take a few weeks, the first part of January, just to be alone and just seek God for the new year. And we hope to do, maybe a live around New Year's, just to share with you guys kind of some thoughts we have and hopeful perspective for what God's doing in the earth. It's hard to find that hopeful perspective sometimes, but I love what you shared yesterday on Elijah's streams. You've had some really encouraging and sobering episodes lately. So if you're behind on those, make sure to go to Rumble.
Yeah,
Elijah
you'll
streams.
Be really encouraged from yesterday. Like you said, we do address a serious situation or more, and but it comes out, I think, very encouraged. I was encouraged by the way that the Lord gave it to me. So yeah, I think that will come out as well.
Well, speaking of serious situations, we're all aware of what's going on in the Middle East, particularly in Israel. And we have a dear friend that we're excited to introduce to you. We're going to bring him on the screen here in just a second, but he's our special guest. This is not going to be a very long live, but we wanted to introduce you to him for a specific reason. And do you want to talk a little bit about how we know Shlomi?
Yeah, well, and for those of you who did listen to the program yesterday, I did briefly get to talk about it at the front end and then the back end of it. But we took a team of near 200 to Israel. Is it May? Was it May?
I think so.
This year's. And so one of our tour guides is a young man named Shlomi Harazi. And so he was amazing. He was loved by all who got to know him, particularly his bus. He headed up one bus. And so it was a wonderful time getting to know him. And so we began to check in with our tour guides when everything went down. We'll say began to go down in Israel, and just understanding that the tourist industry was shut down completely, and that's what they live off of. And so we had concerns. So we were checking in with all our tour guides, and out of that, really this connection with Shlomi, which we can either tell more right now or
let's bring him on. Let's see. All right, Shlomi, yay!
Hello, everybody. So everybody can hear me.
Yeah,
or they will hear me.
They will hear you.
So I want to say how appreciative I am, and how thankful I am for you, for Johnny and Elizabeth. Knowing you is a huge privilege and a huge blessing, and thank you for everything you're doing. I'm super excited. My heart is like beating boom, 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 boom. So hopefully I'll be able to keep talking and speak whatever really I'm supposed to speak, and whatever's on my mind and on my heart. Yeah.
Well, we're so glad that you're absolutely. We're so glad that you're joining us, and that we get the privilege of introducing you to our audience. And, you know, one of our favorite things to do is take people to Israel, and especially for the first time. And we remember what it was like the first time we went, and especially for Christians to get to go and see the Bible like come alive in real time. But what ends up happening that's a surprise on these trips, and we've been many times, is we all fall in love with our tour guides. And you know, it was fun to watch people get to know you and see the land that you love and that you know so well through your eyes. And there's a bond that really happens with the people that you lead on a tour. And I know you probably have, you know, hundreds, if not thousands of people that you've done that with. But our group was your favorite, right?
Exactly.
No doubt, no doubt. This is the best bus I ever had. I've been doing it for about 10 years now, and this is by far the best bus that I ever had. And this is part of the group that you brought to Israel. Yeah.
We didn't ask him to say that at all. Elizabeth and I had the privilege, because of our leading the delegation, we did a different day.
Yeah, we moved around with the different tour guides.
So we did get the exposure. We did get the Shlomi experience a couple of times, and it was good. If not, you would just hear people say, "Well, Shlomi said." So there would be, you know, every tour guide. They don't just all have the same talking points and all that. It's based on what they've learned, what they've studied, what they've experienced there. And so your expertise on the land and the history there was really amazing. It was spoken. We saw it firsthand, and then the people on your bus spoke so well of it as well. And so that's why we're excited about this opportunity we're talking right now. So Elizabeth, tell some more on that.
So I just want to give a quick background. You know, when as you mentioned, when October 7th happened and that massacre, it was just, you know, first thing you think of is people that you know and love, and you want to check on them. So we reached out through WhatsApp and reached out to anyone and everyone that we had ever met and still had their contact information in Israel. And that just happens to be you were one of them. And as a ministry, we've had, you know, the privilege of being a conduit for people that have financial needs at different times. And we were able to send a little something to the different tour guides. And Shlomi and I just continued to talk through WhatsApp. And I said, what else can we do to help you? You know, we understand that you're trying to care for your family, and you can tell us about your family in a minute. But you had a brilliant idea, and I loved your heart that came through in this. And this is why we wanted to, you know, do what we're about to do. You said, I don't want to just receive. I want to add value to.
Right. My wife came up with this idea. You know, some people were approaching us just like you did, like other travelers and other group leaders. Hey, what can we do to help? So she said, hey, let's create a video and explain people the situation and ask for help. And for a second there, I went with that, and I literally prepared like a script of what would I say in the video. And then it just felt wrong. It's like asking for a handout. And even though I'm in a spot that I might need it, it doesn't feel right. So I came to another conclusion that if I want to ask for people help, financial help, I can actually provide value that they will super appreciate. Like, I have the confidence that I can provide value, insights, understandings, different angles and point of views. As an Israeli tour guide, as the person that I am, and I have that confidence that I can like stand behind those words, not because I was born with confidence, because I've been leading tours for about 10 years now, and I get feedbacks. And I know what the feedbacks are all about. I know what people come to me and what they say and what they feel after the tour. So if I can do it in front of people, there's no reason I won't be able to do the same behind the camera. And actually, provide value that people will appreciate and will say, hey, that's worth my time. Now I have a better understanding of the Holy Land, of Israel, of the land of Jesus. Now I read those specific scripture a little different. Now I understand what's really going on in Israel. Because Americans, at least that's what I've been told lately, they're in the spot in many cases, especially my friends and the people that I'm in touch with, American Christians. They hear about those pro-Palestinians and these movements in America, and especially the young folks, and maybe they don't really take a certain stand or a certain approach or a certain comments because they have the lack of understanding of what's really going on. Because people feed today either on the news or on social media, which is a certain algorithm. Like if you like a certain agenda or a certain video that is pro-Palestine, you'll keep getting videos that are pro-Palestine. If you will find a certain video that is like Zionist about Israel, then the social media will provide you with this certain agenda, and you're not getting the whole picture. You're not getting a real understanding. I think that's one of the problems of why so many people today are just going along with that, like free Palestine from the river to the sea. They don't really understand what they're saying. And maybe some of the folks that are part of your congregation want to do something about it, want to say something about it, want to take a stand, want to have a better understanding. And this is a great opportunity to do it. This is, yeah.
That is real good. So tell us a little bit about your family. How many kids do you have?
First of all, I am married. I have one baby girl. She's about 4 years old now. Actually, you know, it's I don't. I think my wife will not like it. She's I'm a much more open person than her, and and she's different that way. But we have been trying for about a year now. So far, I'm talking about a baby. So far, it's not going, and we're praying on it. Our bus, actually, they all put their hands on me on Saint Anne in Jerusalem, and they said the prayers. It was very emotional, very strong. You know, so we're a small family for now. I love her very much. We're very different people, so there's some challenges within it. She's a religious Jew who preserve a lot of the commandments, preserve the Shabbat and everything, and some will say like a secular Jew. I have like struggles within me regarding what is Jesus to me, because I know so much about the New Testament and I've been traveling with Christians for many years now. So there's struggles within my faith and my understanding, and some question marks in my life regarding that. So this is a little bit about my family. Beautiful, smart,
complex.
My wife.
Thank you for being vulnerable and telling that. But yeah, we found you to be a great truth seeker. And I think that's what people really enjoyed about is like he's a truth seeker. He wants the truth, and so he's gonna get there. He's gonna find it. And so we like who you're studying and who you're becoming an expert in, both in Jesus, his life, and then the Bible scenes as well. So that's wonderful.
Your historical perspective. So I will tell our audience that we have two ways that we're excited about supporting Shlomi and his effort to do what he just described. And one is coming up later this year. He is in the process of filming 15 episodes of a virtual tour of Israel. And I've seen parts of his first episode that he's begun putting together. It's phenomenal. You guys are going to love it. And we're going to, that'll be a special program that we have on Restore 7 TV. We'll be announcing it later in the year, next year, when that's available, and you're going to love it. But, you know, especially people that have never been to Israel, this is like the next best thing.
Yeah.
But what I want to tell you about next is actually happening beginning this Thursday. So we have
like the day after tomorrow.
Yes.
The day after tomorrow, Thursday.
So our son-in-law, Chris, had heard about this. It's, there's so much technology out there, but it's basically an app called Patreon, right, where someone like Shlomi can do live events, and there's still going to be, like, if you can't watch live, you can watch the episode later. But people like us can support Shlomi by subscribing to his channel and pay a very small monthly fee to add value to him while he adds value to us as we watch, and we get to ask questions and learn each week something new about what's happening in Israel, connected to the past, connected to what God's doing in the future. And so tell us more about that. I'll go ahead and mention the link is HolyLand.Community. HolyLand.Community is where you're going to register for that. This first one, you do not have to be a subscriber. You don't have to pay anything. It's completely free. Thursday Central Time is, was it 11?
No, it was 9:30 to 11:30 Central Time.
9:30, 11:30 Central
9:30 a.m. this Thursday Central Time. And tell more about it. What are you excited about Patreon and the weekly things you're going to be doing?
And will we put that link in the comment section?
Yes, it's in the description.
It's already there. Okay, yeah. All right.
So I didn't know nothing about Patreon before Chris told me about it. So I have to say that I'm new to this. And I want to add at that point, at the same time, saying that, I've been leading groups and standing in front of a crowd for about 10 years now, but I'm completely new to being behind a camera and doing like all this technological stuff. So at this point, everything is very raw, very authentic, very primary. It's not going to be like the most professional platforms and the best equipment, like recording equipment and whatnot. This is, we deal with whatever we can afford at this point. But basically, Patreon, as far as what I learned about it, is a platform for content providers to publish their content and get paid for that. So there's a lot of musicians there. There's a lot of people who does podcasts, and everyone that's want to provide content and get paid for that. So that's the idea of Patreon. Now, the thought was to start the virtual tour in Israel, like create this recorded sessions, and eventually, like you said, publish it in Restore 7 and maybe use it in other platforms later. And the other thing is, we also want to address the understanding of what's really going on in Israel right now, with surpassing that news that are not necessarily given the whole picture, or necessarily given the truth or a good realization of what's going on. Definitely surpass this social media information that's come only based on certain algorithm that will lead you to watch more and more. So also, it's not the whole picture. We're also going to host in each episodes, hopefully that's what we're aiming for, people that are expert on a certain subject or relevant to the same subject. So for example, in this Thursday, we're basically going to put a lot of focus on October 7th, on the attack itself, on that horrifying day, horrifying Shabbat. And one of the people that we're going to host and interview is actually a survivor, a woman that lived around the Gaza Strip, and somehow by a miracle was able to survive this attack and stay safe. And she now stays away from her house, because they can't live there, the people that lives around the Gaza Strip at the moment. And we're going to have like an interview or a conversation with her, learning about what was her experience like, understanding her perspective. And I think this is really, really important. yes, for American, for Christian Americans, for people that care about the Holy Land, the land of Jesus, because eventually, even though those a lot of subject, this Middle East conflict is so far away and been going on for decades. I promise you, there's so many ways that it's connected to the states, to Americans, and to individuals in America. And there's a whole episode about why it's connection, how it connected to my life as a Christian American, and what can I do, like to help or to stay involved or to influence it in a certain way or another.
Yeah, that's good.
That's great. Well, so I want to make sure people aren't confused. Patreon is what he's starting this week, this Thursday. What we're going to put on Restore 7 TV will be later next year. So just put a pause on that. That will be the virtual tour. But what you're covering now is understanding the Holy Land, Israel now and then. And so we just want to encourage people, if you're interested at all in learning what's happening there, especially from Shlomi's perspective, then be sure to register anytime, especially before this Thursday. And we're hoping that we can get enough support for you that this makes it a little easier time for you guys until we can open the floodgates and start coming back to the land that we love once again. And is there anything else that you want them to know about you or about your program or about what's happening in Israel right now? We didn't even ask you. I meant to ask you early on, how are you and your family doing? What is it like day to day in Jerusalem right now?
Right. So the first few days was a complete shock for me. Like I just finished a tour like a day or two before, and I was supposed to start another one like 3 or 4 days after. So I didn't have a lot of time to stay at home. And my mindset was, how will my wife and daughter would deal with my absence from home, since we are going into the high season? So financially, I was eased, but I was worried about how my wife and my family will cope. And then this happened. I remember I'm staying away from my phone usually on Shabbat, because my wife preserved the Shabbat, and it started in the morning, but I didn't know nothing about it. Then a friend started calling me a few times, and he said, "Are you okay? Like, did they get you to go to your reserve service?" And I said, "No, what happened?" And he said, "There's 100 people that are already dead." Eventually, we know that now that at that day we had more than 1,000. So for a few days, I was shocked. I was upset. I was frustrated. I was depressed, and I didn't know what to do with myself. And at some point, I said, "That's it. Pull it together. Like the only way of prevailing is just continue to live, just to continue to do what you do, continue to take care of your family, continue to take care of yourself, because life goes on, and it's the strongest thing in the world." And for your question, like what's really happening in Israel, I'm trying to keep myself away from news, from social media, to not get too sad, to not get too confused, to not get too upset, to stay focused, to contribute in my life in the areas where I can. And another example is my wife woke up today with tears. I saw her holding her phone, and she was tearing, she was crying. I asked her what happened, and she said, one of the people from the place we live, it's a small town, no name or an it doesn't matter, 10,000 people. One of the people, a young man that I used to see, a kid from the neighborhood, died as a soldier. And so we're safe physically, but all the day-to-day routine and most of the areas in life are like scrambled at the moment, are very not in its place, in a way.
And there's for sure clearly no touring going on in Israel right now.
No, and I don't think there's gonna be anytime soon. I mean, unfortunately, I already have tours that have been planned for months ahead that are already being canceled.
Right. No, that's really, well, that's good. Thank you for that little insight. And then, of course, all of you will get a lot more from Shlomi moving forward. Elizabeth, anything else we need to repeat? So this Thursday, which is the 21st, December 21st.
9:30 a.m. Central Time. And if you can't watch it live, go ahead and still register, still subscribe, and then you can go back and watch it at your convenience. So
Right.
All
And
right.
the link is HolyLand.Community. So it's right.
HolyLand.Community. And
HolyLand.Community.
I love the thought of, like, if I personally had never been to Israel and never gotten the privilege of meeting someone like yourself, I would want to feel like I have a personal connection there, and I think that this is going to serve as that, for people that want to feel like they have access to somebody that lives there, that has their, a perspective that's similar to yours, and that you've interacted with so many Americans and so many Christians. You understand the kinds of questions that they're going to have. And
Definitely.
if I'm understanding correctly, you're going to have, at least at some points, maybe not every episode, but a Q&A time where you can answer specific questions, and maybe some of your special guests that you bring on and interview, they can answer questions. And I know when we've been on tours with you, you welcome any question, and
Yes.
even the hard ones, and you don't have any problem
Definitely.
saying either I don't know, or you'll
This is what I
ask
think.
questions that help people arrive at their own conclusion, or you give your perspective. So it's an open, healthy dialogue, and we love that about you and about many of the other Israelis that we've met. So
Awesome.
blessings on you, blessings on your family.
Yes.
And we look forward
Likewise.
to seeing you in the
Staying in
Holy
touch.
Land again, and we will stay in touch. Yep.
All right,
Thank
Shlomi.
you so much. Have a beautiful day over there.
All right. HolyLand.Community. Go register.
Bye-bye.